If you're live streaming, you should be creating behind the scenes content for your live streams. It's incredibly important to market the episodes that you're filming, to show that you're doing things in your business, just to create content for your social media. This is a really good opportunity, whether you're live streaming just to your audience on your own or you're live streaming on someone else's platform. And there's lots of ways that you can be doing this. Now, I do need you to have a secondary device to document this. You don't want just the straight on content. You will be using that. You can use that, but you also want to document the process and what you're doing. So whatever you're doing, you're having a secondary device, be it a phone, a camera, your computer, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes you're going to stream from your phone. Sometimes you're going to stream from your computer, but always have the opposite or another device to create that behind the scenes content. And your goal here is to show off what you are doing. So let's just say you're streaming from your phone and you've got your phone on a tripod and you're gonna be sitting here talking to TikTok or talking to Instagram or talking to even YouTube or Facebook through your phone. Have a secondary device over here and make sure that it is getting those posed photos of you doing things. Now you can be recording this as a video and taking screenshots later. You can just be clicking away and taking some photos. You can have somebody do it for you. There's lots of options, but the goal is to have something where you're very clearly doing this. You can also have your computer here and put your phone on the opposite side of it. Now, I do recommend that you're doing it off to the side. You can be putting it where your phone or your computer is going to be directly in between you and the camera, but that cuts off a lot of what you're doing. It doesn't really show a good view of this. So think more lifestyle than straight on to camera for this content. So you want to have that at an angle. It can be off to the side where people are not going to see it and still documents what you're doing. That way you can get the sideways view of that. And that's going to work really well for your social media. It's going to work really well for thumbnails for things. It's going to work really well for just images that you're putting out in your YouTube community or your Facebook group or whatever it happens to be. The website even works really well for that. And so your goal here is to, before you go live, take a couple of posed images. You're going to set things up and you're going to act like you're speaking, because when you are speaking on your live stream, you're going to come up with some weird faces just because the way that the language that you're speaking works. You're going to have weird poses and you don't want that in your images. So have your device set up here and you're going to start posing. And to do that, you're going to look like you're talking to the camera. So if you talk with your hands, get your hands up, get your hands moving in some kind of direction so that it looks like you're having a conversation. You see how I did that? You can do something like that, but you also have to engage your face. So you're going to be looking at the device and you're going to smile, but with your teeth apart. So something like this, so that it looks like you're in the middle of a word without having some weird version of what you were doing. That was a weird pose, right? We don't want that. It's the same way when we're taking photos and we're making it look like we're walking. We're not actually walking because our legs are at wonky angles. We're going to fake that and make sure our legs are stretched out so that it looks like we're moving forward without us having the weird bent knees and the feet up in the air, and just, it doesn't make sense. Same for this. So you're going to smile with your teeth separated. You can do different versions or different poses of this, and you're just going to kind of move it just very slowly as if it were like stop motion. So you're just going to, for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, pose for these photos and have your hands in different positions. You can kind of move your shoulders around. You can lift your chin up or tuck it back down, but have your mouth open so it looks like you're speaking. You can also do some where you're just smiling at your device as if you're listening to someone else speak. If you're doing a guest appearance, there's a lot of ways that you can be doing this. You can even, if you want, try to pose and then glance over to the camera as if, oh, you caught me right in the middle of the conversation. So you can take a lot of different images that way. You can also film from the side to use clips of. Now, we've talked about this in other videos. So if you are using footage of this, this is behind the scenes for TikTok, for Instagram, for YouTube, for wherever. If it's an episode that you're doing by yourself, by all means, you can use this however you want. If, however, you're doing an episode for someone else's content, so you're doing it for their podcast or their live stream or their YouTube channel or their whatever, you may not be able to use the footage from the actual event because that needs to be exclusive and dedicated to them. So you can film yourself and use it without the words you're saying as B-roll footage. By all means, do that. That is fantastic. If you want to use actual words that you're saying, use the parts before and after and in between the recordings. Sometimes you have really great conversations. I frequently have really good conversations because I'm there to educate, and I'll say something to the host behind the scenes. They'll ask me a question off the record and I'll give a really good answer. I'll use that as a YouTube video from the side where I am clearly speaking on the computer to somebody, but that's my own content. That's not the content that I've given to them to use on their channels. And so you can use clips of you chatting with them before, after, in between, things like that. If you have the ability to ask them, hey, I love this clip, can I use this to promote the episode? See what they say. You can also say, hey, listen, I'm filming a little bit behind the scenes. Can we just chat for a second, where we're like, hey, how are you? How's everything going? Here's how today is going to work. So can I use those clips to then promote what we are doing as well? If somebody else is involved, get their permission first. But if you're just saying things off the record that are not a part of what they are putting out publicly, you can use that on your own content. So for this, you are aiming to get really good photos, thumbnails, and video clips that you can be using in a B-roll capacity, or even in a direct to your YouTube channel or whatever capacity. And this is just going to show people that you're active, you're engaged, you're doing things without being too like in their face about it. This is also incredibly helpful for your website. Having this on where you have the ability to say, hey, these are the things I speak on. This is how you can contact me about getting me on your stages or on your virtual platforms or in your YouTube channel or whatever it happens to be. Use those as really good promotional content pieces, and then put it out on social media. Use it as some of your profile photos. There's a lot of things you can do with this. And the whole goal here is to set up whatever device you are taking those images and or videos on, and putting it off to the side of the device that you are going to be streaming on. And then you can film as much or as little of that as you want. You may not want to film an entire 40-minute conversation if you can't use that conversation. So maybe film the beginning where you're meeting the person, where you could be speaking off the record and potentially have content that you can use, and then film for the first 2 minutes of the conversation. I frequently will be filming on my computer to talk to people on live streams, and I'll set up my phone next to it and I'll record the first 2 minutes. So as they introduce me and I start to introduce myself and I talk about what I'm doing, I'll film, and then when I'm done speaking, I'll just reach over without looking and stop my camera, and then I don't have to worry about the next 40 minutes of the conversation. I can also then reach back over and just tap the record button for the end when we go back off the record, so I can get more content of myself. And sometimes I'll switch the orientation of my phone if I'm filming from my phone. So I'll do some horizontal, I'll do some vertical, so I can use it in multiple capacities. And if you have it plugged in, then you can just let it sit there. It's not going to kill your battery. It might warm your phone up depending on what type of phone you have, so just be mindful of that. But if you practice how to do this without looking, you can see it in your peripheral vision and very easily turn things on and off so that you can be using your phone when you need to. Or if you understand your camera, you have the ability to turn that on and off without deleting the battery or depleting the battery as well. So this is a really good opportunity to get lots of content that you can use if you are doing live streams for yourself, if you're doing live streams for somebody else, that you can be using on your website, on your social medias, even on your YouTube channel and things like that, depending on the context that you are creating content in. But it's very, very valuable. And it only takes just a few, it literally can take extra seconds of your time to now have documentation that you can be using on social media. You can do up to a few minutes. And if it's something where you want to do the entire thing, by all means, do the entire thing. That's fine as well. So there's lots of options, lots of opportunities, and lots of really great ways that you can be leveraging this to extend what you're doing, so that we work smarter, not harder, so we can make things more profitable with less work and less stress inside of your business. We're dropping new videos every single day teaching you how to do exactly that. So we'll see you in the upcoming episodes, and drop any questions you have.